Hey, Shalom, Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hakodash. Double honors to the head apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to brothers and highways and byways, doing the work sincerely and faithfully, continually fighting that good fight of faith, Lord willing. We have found that number to be delivered. All right. So I came across this article here out of Boston. It says Trump's birthright citizenship order won't go into effect en masse, Attorney General Campbell says. All right. So those who have been keeping up with it, this whole mass deportation thing, it's only geared to you Israelites. All right. No one understand that. It's geared to the so-called negroes, so-called Haitians, so-called Puerto Ricans. I'm going to say so-called all the Latin tribes and Native Americans. This is who this whole deportation movement is for, period. Okay? So get that through your thick heads. And so now what Trump is trying to put in place, and again, we as watchmen, we got to give you the news, man. Because there are a lot of people out there who truly trust and believe that, on the highways and byways teaching, So your only source of being fed is relying on the servants and the prophets of the Lord to give you these things and keep you in the loop as to what's happening through the Spirit, right? So again, Trump is now going after, anybody that was born to illegal people. Even though you was born in this country, you still gonna get deported. And this is what he's chopping down. So let me read a little bit of this article. Oh shit. It's always something, man. Let me read a little bit of this article. X out. Well, of course, the way it's set up, you ain't gonna be able to read this shit. This number's Satan. Give me a second. Let me try to figure this out real quick. Alright, let's go. It says President Donald Trump's attempt to halt birthright citizenship for some babies born to immigrants will not take effect in Massachusetts, Attorney General Andrew Campbell said Friday, but a U.S. Supreme Court ruling complicates the outlook in the red states. In a ruling on Friday, the nation's highest court limited nationwide injunctions that for months had prevented Trump's day one birthright citizenship executive order from taking effect, and the High Court stopped short of deciding whether the order itself runs afoul of the U.S. Constitution. All right, so again, I'll read this last verse. It says, instead, the court delayed Trump's order from taking effect for another 30 days and returns the cases channeling the policy to lower courts, according to the Associated Press. More legal action expected in the coming weeks. All right. So all that being said, right? So these governors, they believe that they got the upper hand, but it's just a matter of time. You see, it's just a matter of time because again, what Donald Trump can do is issue martial law, and once martial law is issued, then all bets are off as far as these governors and their little ordinances they put in place. All right, so this is the AI overview. It says, in the event of martial law, civilian authority is replaced with military rule, and the military assumes control of law enforcement, governance, and potentially the judicial system. All right, so at the end of the day, these governors and these attorney generals, they can stand up and say, we don't want it, we're not going to, allow it. But all Trump got to do is issue martial law. And then there's no more problems. And it says, this often involves the suspension of certain civil liberties and the imposition of martial law. Let's read down a little bit. It says, military authority. It says the military takes over from civilian authorities, with military officers making and enforcing laws. Suspension of laws. Existing laws in normal administration of justice can be suspended or altered by the military. So and that's the point you got to understand. These governors, they're stepping up trying to, block Trump and veto Trump and all this other shit. The man, all he has to do is, with a swipe of a pen, implement executive martial law. All right. So they're gonna try to hold on for a little bit, but Trump is gonna get his shit off, and the reason why, because prophecy must be fulfilled. Right. Now I started off by saying these immigration laws and these immigration acts, they're posed to the children of Israel. This is for you. This is what is going to start the constitution of the time of Jacob's trouble. All right? And now when that came down, that starting in a month or two, he's just going to start deporting people, going door to door, and what he's doing now, but it's going to be more severe. All right? But we're telling you, we're warning you. All right? You got to listen to what the prophets of the Lord are saying. Keep yourself in good standing. Pray to Yahweh Shmi Hawashai. It says Isaiah 10:1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed. Now think about it, right? When you look at this, Trump's birthright citizenship order, that's grievous, man. So now what is he doing? At first it started out with he wanted to go after illegal immigrants that are, associated with gang violence, robbing and stealing and mugging. That's who the target, person was. Anybody that was going against the grain of the legal laws of America. But now what is he doing? Now he's saying, listen, even though you was born here, it doesn't matter. If your parents was immigrants and you was born here, then you're an immigrant too. You gotta go. As a matter of fact, let me do this real quick. Let's see if I can find what I'm looking for. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second here. I think this is it here. Give me 1 second. Let me see. What's really brown, baby? I believe this is it here. All right, let me start here. It says, quote, I believe within the next 30 days, we're going to get more clarity and we're going to prevail, said Connecticut Attorney General William Thorne. But in 30 days, if that's not the case and we still have uncertainty, if I'm born in Connecticut, yes, the injunction still applies to me. Birthright citizenship is still the law of the land in Connecticut. But what about Pennsylvania? What about Texas? What if a pregnant woman in Connecticut goes to Texas, goes to Pennsylvania, goes to Louisiana, goes to Utah, and has the baby there? Then what happens? All right? So you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. So even you so-called lawmakers who are in these positions, all right, you're going to get swept up too. It's very simple, man. It's very simple. But as you see, the target of people is no longer criminals, anybody involved in gangs and so on and so forth. Now they're hitting the kids. Now they're going after the children. You see? And this is why when the scripture says, woe unto them that write unrighteous decrees. and making America great again. That's another going statement here in Babylon that we got to understand. America was a great place for them. This is where they thrived. This was their chief seat, man. We weren't nothing but slaves and workers and hands. That's all we was. Jake is all, yeah, make America great, yeah, right. Listen, that's their mindset. Okay. Psalms 58:1. It says, "Do you indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do you judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies." Okay? So these are the very same people who writes them unrighteous decrees. But now there's a target people who they now want to target. All right? Now, Elder Malcolm was doing a show, and I didn't get a chance to finish watching it, but he was talking about those mass deportations. All right? And a lot of these, it's being, brought out that a lot of these immigrants are being flown over the damn ocean and being dumped in the ocean, right? Which is the same thing they did during the slave trade. All right? But the only difference is now they're doing it by plane as opposed to boat. Throwing niggas overboard, drowning in the sea. Right? But check it though. We're gonna come back to this. Check this out. Okay, this is another independent paper. It says Supreme Court greenlights Trump sending immigrants to war-torn nations. And what do you think that means? Rounding them up, sending them over to the Middle East or wherever they're sending them. This is what's you people don't get it, man. You don't get it. This is what's about to go down. Let me see if I can open this up, man. This is Satan at his finest. Yeah, it's not letting me open it. But anyway, let's continue on. It says Supreme Court greenlights Trump sending immigrants to war-torn nations. All right. So in other words, the roundup is going to continue, but now you ain't getting sent back to your home land or your native land. They're going to send you an Indian everywhere in this world where there's war, where there's destruction. And that's where a lot of you going to die over there, man. And again, you can be the most humble, the nicest guy, at the store, but this is the route that the Lord is putting on these devils to take. You are now public enemy number one to this country, especially if you came here so-called illegally. Okay? Let me go back to this. Verse 2, "Yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming ever so wisely." You see? So it doesn't matter what these Congress, these attorney generals, these attorneys, it doesn't matter what they say and how much of a pitch they put out there to the American people, looking for, to a collaboration of people to get together. All right? Scripture says they stop at their ear. They ain't trying to hear none of this shit. All right? Because at the end of the day, they're going to try to usher in this so-called New World Order. All right? With this so-called, new currency. This is their agenda. And they're going to try to fulfill it to the fullest. Right? Let's go. This is 2nd Ezra 16, starting at 68. And it says, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you." They get marching orders every day to go into city to city, to state, rounding any and everybody up. All right. Now, there's a few Levites in my area here, and the news, like I was saying, watching the news and listening to different, podcasts, they're saying that ICE is about to come out and just start hammering. Now they got all kinds of kids over there, but they're gonna start hammering. It don't matter. Okay, let's continue. It says, "A great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and a reproach, and trodden under foot." Yeah, you remember that Ephraimite? We do Latinos for Trump. Latinos for Trump. You niggas was had in derision. All right, now she's on the news again, talking about, "I didn't know he was gonna do this. I was set up. I was framed." The scriptures tell you, and we've been telling you, never trust your enemy. But y'all don't want to listen. Y'all do not want to listen. And if you think it's going to get better from here on out, you're sadly mistaken. Okay? Verse 69 says, "And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and a reproach, and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord." Talk about it. That insurrection is going to be set up, man, and it's going to be fulfilled. And this is why I said at the outset of this lesson, all these things that are happening are geared and strategically put in place for the children of Israel. All right? Now, the difference is this concerning the children of Israel, the Israelites. This is the difference. Those who are in the know have a shield and buckler in Yahweh Shai for protection. All right? Anybody outside of that, you're going to be swept and caught up, man, and taken away. Okay? Point taken here in the next verse. It says, "They shall be like madmen, sparing none." Now what? As they start to do the Birthright Immigration Act, they ain't sparing nobody. Little children, they gonna get it too. They've done it before in the past, and they're gonna do it in this time around. All right? So when it says they're gonna be like madmen, you best believe they're gonna love the taste of blood. And with that taste of blood, they are not going to stop. You hear these wild animals, and the old saying is, yeah, once they taste that blood, a shark in the water, bites a seal, it gets that blood in its mouth, now it's going all out. And this is what these devils are gonna do when the Lord opens this thing fully up, man. Okay? Again, they shall be like madmen, sparing none. They don't give a damn how old you are, how young you are, if you're a female or a male, it doesn't matter. It says, "For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses." Okay? This is what's going to happen. Right now, you don't see it because they ain't talking about it. Right now, you don't see it because every day that passes is another day gone by where it's just business as usual. Okay? But we have been set up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai to give you these warnings. All right? Verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen. And one of the major factors that you people are going to know that we were set up by the Lord is when these prophecies start coming to pass on a much more higher spiritual level. Then you're going to understand and know that the men of great millstone, from the head apostles on down, the brothers who are with us, we were the only camp that has truly been pushing these prophecies. The only ones. All right? You know, for the time that we're living in, you got a lot of men out there bitching and crying and moaning about how their feelings and what you guys did this and you guys did that. Niggas we don't even know talking shit. Right? We got a job to do. And I said it before and I'll say it again. We, being the servants of Yahweh Shai Shai, we have a job to do. We've been hired to do the work. All right? We've been hired to do the work. Just like in this kingdom. When you apply for a job and you get the job, and Esau comes to the jobs, and he's seeing, certain things or telling you certain things need to be done, then you got to do it. You got to get it done. It ain't no different with Yahweh Shai. I have made you a watchman to the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me, pursuant to the book of Ezekiel. All right? So this is why we've been set up, to give that warning. The Lord's a fair and just power, man. He's giving you his warning. He's letting you know what he going to do. Okay? But this is the way it's going to go. This is how it's happening. Jump over to Job 4 and 7. It says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Because as they start to go around, start rounding these people up, killing people, sending them over to war-torn countries, and the average so-called everyday American citizen, those who like to protest and march up and down city streets, you know the group I'm talking about. All right? Their first words out of their mouth is, oh, they've done nothing wrong. Leave them alone. They're innocent. Well, the scriptures speak otherwise. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent. ? All right? So whatever happens to anybody, it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Okay? So with that, I'm going to end it there. Lord willing, this was edifying. And, we got a lot of shit that there's a lot of shit that we prophesying about that is going down, that is happening every waking morning. And like I said at camp, this is a very beautiful time to be alive, man. All right? Being occupied in these prophecies. And every time a prophecy comes to pass, it's like the Lord has given us a jolt of spiritual charge. Because that means what? We're one day closer to getting delivered the hell out of here. All right? So with that, Lord willing, I'm going to say shalom, and I'll see y'all brothers in another one.